Do you want delicious plant-based meals without all the hassle? It's all about smart shopping. I'm Stephanie, and I'm going to take you to the store with me. We're going to go aisle by aisle, and I'll show you my favorite shortcuts as well as my must-have ingredients for easy plant-based cooking. So let's go shopping. I just noticed that this video turned into a longer video, so I went ahead and put chapter breaks in the description box below so you can kind of skip around and watch the sections that you want. The first stop is the produce section. This is where we're going to find the foundation for most of our meals. We know that fruit and vegetable intake is the single most important factor in longevity, so we're trying to eat at least 5 to 8 servings of fruits and vegetables. So we're stocking up with produce. I love to keep berries on hand because they're super healthy, but they're expensive this time of year. Oh great, the blackberries are on sale for 99 cents a package. I'm going to stock up on these. I also always get apples and bananas. Oranges are in season right now, and I'm going to get a few of these. For veggies, I always get some kind of green, either spinach and sometimes kale. A lot of times I have slaw mix on hand because it's a quick time saver. You can make a Mexican slaw, an Asian slaw. You can throw it into a regular salad. Cabbage is a really high nutrient food. I need to get some broccoli and some cauliflower. This is going to go in the salad I make every week. It's also good steamed as a side with my pasta. Another quick note, it's a good idea to have some idea what you're planning to make for the week so you don't buy produce that ends up going to waste at the end of the week. Here's another great time saver. I buy these matchstick carrots because I don't really have time or energy to chop up carrots really fine all the time. I also like to get the romaine hearts for my everyday salad. I'll get a purple cabbage. I need some bell peppers, some tomatoes. I like to get an avocado or 2 if they're on sale, some cucumbers, and sometimes I'll get a jalapeno or serrano depending on what's on the menu for the week. There's a section at most grocery stores which has pre-chopped vegetables, which is an option if you have more money than you do time, but I always do my own chopping. Don't forget some fresh herbs if you're using them this week. They add a lot of great flavor to some recipes. So here's a tip of the day. If you need fresh herbs, it's usually cheaper to buy one of these plants instead of buy one of these containers because the plants are cheaper and it's fresher and they last a lot longer. Even if the plant dies in a couple of weeks. Oh, I love that 7 for 7 sale. That means I can get this 5-pound bag of potatoes for $1, which is a fantastic price. I'm going to stock up on these because they will last several weeks. I always buy a bag of onions, and this is where I get my minced garlic, which is also a real time saver. The last thing we need in the produce section is the tofu. Every store is a little different, so you may need to look around a bit, but I always find it in the produce section. The extra firm is always a good all-around tofu, so I need some of that. I also like the super firm tofu sometimes. If you need some ideas for how to use that tofu, I'll put a link in the description box below for my tofu masterclass. While I'm here, I'm going to check and see what else is here just for fun. The Veggie taste good, but it costs way more than the Hellmann's I'm going to show you later. They have some non-dairy cheeses here. If you want to have those on hand, that's up to you. I always check out these items and buy them when they're on sale. I don't eat them every week, but I do like to have them on hand, so I'll buy them now and I'll freeze them so I can save money. I don't have to buy them at the full price when I want them for a recipe. These little dumplings also make a nice easy dinner, but they're not real practical for a large family. The next section over is the bakery. Despite what people tell you, bread is good for you. You just need to look for a whole grain bread that has plenty of fiber and protein. Sometimes you can find a better deal on the bread in this bakery section, but it really depends on your store. But there's always a few good loaves in the bread aisle. You'll just want to look at the ingredient label. The first item on the list, which makes up the largest quantity of what's in the loaf, needs to be whole wheat, not enriched flour. A lot of these breads do contain milk, so depending on where you are in your plant-based, be aware of the ingredients you're trying to avoid. We love these Dave's Killer Bagels. They're high in protein and high in fiber. You can also get whole wheat English muffins, so there's plenty of items to choose from in the bread aisle. Our next aisle over is the baking supplies. A lot of these items are optional, but I'll show you what I like to have on hand. Here are some date-sweetened, dairy-free chocolate chips, and here are some allergy-free chocolate chips. All are great and considered plant-based. I also like to keep a variety of nuts, but honestly, I don't usually buy them here because they tend to be more expensive. I'll get them at a Costco or a Sam's Club. For flour, I like to use this golden wheat flour in my kitchen. It's a whole wheat flour and it goes good in lots of recipes, and it's surprisingly good in cookies. So here's a big selection of alternative flours, like almond flour or chickpea flour. I like the chickpea flour for several recipes, so you might want to think about getting that. The whole Bob's Red Mill section at this grocery store is fantastic for a lot of good plant-based options. There's an egg replacer here, which is great if you want to use that, but I usually use aquafaba because it's cheaper and it works just as well. They have nutritional yeast here, which is definitely great if you want to get some for a trial, but I usually buy it in bulk so I can get it a bit cheaper. I always keep flaxseed in my fridge. I do buy the meal most of the time. I used to grind my own flax seeds, but it was just one more thing I had to do, and I rarely got it done, and it just became a burden to me. So these nut crusts are the most healthy pre-made crusts that you can really buy. I just wanted to hop in here for another quick minute. This grocery shopping trip went from healthy to sugary, all just like that, and I wanted to clarify that this is an honest grocery shopping trip. I do buy some of these less healthy items and keep them on hand for different occasions and for different people when I serve them. I do like to make most of my own healthier treats, but I do keep these things on hand. Believe it or not, a lot of these mixes are dairy-free. They're not healthy, mind you, but I do usually keep a box of brownie mix on hand in case I need a quick dessert for a potluck or if the kids are coming to the house. I replace the eggs with tofu, and it adds a little nutrition and a little protein, so I feel a little better about it. Did you know that they dye black olives black? It's true, they dye them for consistent coloring. My family really loves these natural green olives. They taste like black olives, but they're green. Also, you will want to have some olive oil in your pantry. They say extra virgin olive oil is the healthiest, but it does have a strong flavor. So if you need something more neutral, then a light olive oil is a good one to use. Here's my plant-based mayo, and with all the other mayo. I rarely buy bottled salad dressing, but I do keep this Good Seasons dressing mix on hand. You've heard me talk about it a lot, so I won't share any more about that. And here we are in the condiment aisle. I really enjoy the Simply Heinz ketchup. It's high fructose corn syrup free. It does have sugar in it, so you want to use it sparingly, but I do like to have it on hand for those ketchup eaters in the family. I'm not sure why my store keeps vegan cheese here and also in the produce section like I showed you earlier, but if you need vegan cheese, this might be a place to look. We finally made it to the dry lentils, the beans, the quinoa, the rice. These are all items you want to keep in your pantry, with the exception of the beans maybe. They do take a long time to cook, but if you're starting out, canned beans will work just fine. But if you have an Instant Pot, you can take the cooking of dry beans from 2 to 3 hours down to just 30 minutes or less. I love the panko breadcrumbs. They come in whole wheat. They make a good coating for tofu or other things. Well, I don't use much canned soup. I usually do have some canned tomato soup for an emergency. But what I do buy in this aisle is the Better Than Bouillon. I love this stuff. The no beef is here, but they're out of the no chicken. So I like to stock up on it when I find it because my store does run out of the no chicken a lot. Here's all of your canned vegetables and your canned beans, which I use all the time. Here's your canned fruit. I always like to keep peaches and pears and some fruit cocktail. Also like to keep some mandarin oranges. I wanted you to notice that you want to look on the cans for packed in real fruit juice, not packed in heavy syrup or in artificial sweeteners. That's going to be the best deal. Now we're into the canned tomatoes. I really like the petite diced tomatoes because I don't like big chunks of tomato in my soups and things. I also love this tomato paste that comes in a tube because a lot of my recipes call for like a tablespoon or something of tomato paste, and I hate to waste the whole can just for a tablespoon. I usually have some sauce on hand just in case I don't have time to make it, and Herdez is my favorite to keep in the pantry. And in this aisle, I also like to buy canned refried beans. It's really a convenience for a quick meal, but make sure you check your labels. A lot of times there's added fat, and a lot of them even have added lard, which I don't want to eat. And look, here are some plant-based meals down here. I have never tried these, I wonder a little bit though what kind of preservatives might be in these. So I like green chilies and jalapenos. While we're in the Mexican aisle, we also need to get tortillas. I get the corn tortillas, and I usually get these extreme wellness ones. You've heard me talk about those for wraps and things like that as well, not just for our burritos and things. Over here on the Asian side, we have our rice noodles and other Asian noodles that I like to keep in my pantry for certain recipes. Here's some coconut cream and some coconut milk. I always have those as well. They add a lot of nice creaminess to puddings, and I use them instead of heavy cream in some recipes. For flavor, I always keep on hand some rice vinegar and some sesame oil. These make my Asian foods taste so much better. You can buy your low-sodium soy sauce here, but I always use Bragg's, and I forgot to show you that in the condiment aisle, but it's in my grocery store in the condiment aisle. And this is where you find the firm silken tofu. I love this stuff for puddings and creamy sauces. It's usually in this Asian aisle on the bottom shelf. Here is some miso paste. This is something I use in very small quantities, so this little container is going to last me for a long time. I use it in some cheesy types foods. So now we've reached the Indian section of the international aisle, and these moong dal, masar dal, and basam flour are not necessities, but they're things that you might want to keep on hand for some interesting recipes. The moong dal makes a great egg replacer, very similar to the just egg. The basam is just chickpea flour, which I showed you earlier, and it's a little cheaper here than it was in the baking aisle. So my grocery store is pretty well stocked. If your grocery store does not have some of these items, you can look for them at the international market in your area, or you can order them online. And now we finally arrived at the Italian aisle of the grocery store. This is where I get my chickpea pasta and my protein pasta. The Baza brand has been a favorite of mine, so I also like having a jar of tomato sauce in hand. It's helpful in a pinch, but it really doesn't take that long to make your own tomato sauce. You're going to want to read your labels here because a lot of times they add sugar or cheese and sometimes meats to these sauces, so make sure you check your labels. We've reached the dairy section. I do stop here for a few things. If I'm making certain recipes, I will have vegan cream cheese. Here's a Kite Hill brand, and also the Philadelphia brand are both good in recipes. I also buy some plant butter, and I usually use Country Crock. I do like the Earth Balance, but I only buy it when it's on sale because it's usually pretty expensive. We like the unsweetened vanilla milk with 30 calories, but that takes a while to get used to if you are used to regular milk. If I were you, I would try a lot of these different milks and find which one you like better. Some people love the oat milk. I don't like it. Some people like the soy milk better. So just do a taste test and see which one you like. They also have non-dairy sour cream right here with regular sour cream. So if you want to buy that, you can. I usually try to use the unsweetened yogurt in place of sour cream in recipes because I like to keep some of that on hand. It's also good for baking. Now into the frozen section. As far as vegetables go, I really like to have some edamame. They're high in protein. I'll buy peas and mixed vegetables and green beans. Whatever vegetables you think your family will like. I don't generally buy frozen broccoli and cauliflower because they're better fresh. In the winter, you're going to want to have some frozen fruit on hand because fruit is so expensive. I use the frozen fruits in my oatmeal, in my smoothies. I'll make it into a topping for my pancakes, all the different things. So here we are at the veggie meat section of the grocery store, and this section just keeps growing and growing. You're going to want to taste the different ones and see which ones you like better because everybody likes something different. I know that some of you are going to say that these are not healthy things, that you shouldn't eat them. So here's what we know. It's important to have something that will help you make this transition. You can use these meat products in your regular recipes, and you can just add lots of fruits and vegetables and whole grains with them, and it will make the transition a lot easier. So here's what we know about these fake meats. America's longest living culture, or the American Blue Zone as we like to call it from Dan Buettner's study, They eat these fake meats on a regular basis and they still live 7 to 10 years longer than everybody else. So don't beat yourself up if you have a craving for some chicken or some meat. You're better off eating one of these fake meats than eating real meat that has the disease from the animal kingdom, as well as all of the fat and the cholesterol and other things that you don't want to eat. It's not something that you want to eat every day, but if you eat your fake meat with lots of veggies and lots of fiber, then it's going to be okay. If you love peanut butter, you're going to want to get yourself some natural peanut butter. The Smucker's is the best natural peanut butter you're going to find. With this natural peanut butter, you have to stir it, but it's totally worth it with the Smucker's. This Jif says it's natural, but they add stuff to it so you don't have to stir it. And it's just not as good. You can also try other nut butters. We always have almond butter on hand as well. If you're going to do PB&J, check your labels on the jellies and try to find something that's lower sugar but doesn't have artificial sweeteners in it. Always have on hand some rolled oats and or some quick oats. Steel cut oats is even better if you have them in your grocery store. Pure maple syrup acts as a good sweetener. It's more natural than like the white sugar or other kinds of sweetener. I only get 2 things from this snack aisle. The popcorn, we like the white, and some corn chips, which we use when we eat our Mexican meals. I hope you had fun shopping with me. If you subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, you can watch me cook all these ingredients into some great recipes.